welcome. This is yet another episode of the Know Better, Do Better series with myself, Lauryn Williams, and my girl, Chloé Moore. She is a certified financial planner that helps young professionals in tech better organize their finances. You might know us and you might have been watching or not watching, but listening to this series for quite a bit. So she probably needs no introduction. But Chloé, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And if you are new to the show, at the top of every episode, we do trends, taxes, and tea, where we discuss some of the latest trends on how to save more, help you pay less on, the little things that you shouldn't be paying a whole lot of money toward. And we share some current event or something to do with money. So, Chloé, what do you have for us? Trends, taxes, and tea.
Yeah, so I know we have a lot of clients who, have spending habits, and we talk about spending all the time and sticking to a budget. And so I saw an article recently that talked about just social media and how it influences bad spending habits.
It
You know,
does
some
not. Social media doesn't influence anyone, Chloé. Everybody knows that.
but yeah, it's like we kind of know that in the back of our heads, but just to hear the data and the research behind it is very interesting.
Yeah.
So there was an article that talked about kind of three different ways that social media can influence bad spending habits. The first one is the myth that luxury is affordable. So we always see these people that they're driving these nice cars, they're going on these luxury vacations, they have all of these nice clothes. And everyone thinks that they can do this too. If this person over here is doing it, then why can't I? And so it just kind of goes down this path of just spending way too much money. So in the study, it said over a third of people admit to overspending in order to keep up with the fun they see their friends having on social media.
Wow, not even the fun they see their friends having in real life. The fun they
Yeah,
see their friends having on social media makes them feel like they should go out and purchase something that they can't actually afford. I mean,
yeah,
it's called marketing for a reason. So I'm not actually shocked, but yikes.
yeah. And the other one I found was interesting. It's talked about financing purchases, and so there's a lot of influencers out there that encourage you to use the buy now pay later services. Where you can, if you want to get a big purchase, whether it's a trip or clothing item or just anything, you can break it down into low, easy monthly payments. And so it says that more than 45% of adults have signed up for buy now, pay later plans. And then in 2021, they spent $20 billion using these services.
Billion with a B. Oh my goodness. And that
Yeah.
was 2021. So I'm assuming it's not getting better. It's probably getting worse.
Yeah, yeah, just because of the way the economy went in 2022. So yeah, about a quarter of the people said that they first heard about all of these services through social media. So people, even if they're not using credit cards, are using these buy now and pay later services, which are digging them into a hole. And then the last one is, something we talk about all the time, which is bad financial advice, often from people who are not qualified. So it said that more than 50% of Gen Zers said that they went to social media for financial advice, and more than a third of teens report learning about money from social media. So,
This is I mean, this is the world we live in, but also it's a really dangerous world. And I think that like that is the key piece of the puzzle is like we need to bring reality back to world. The social media is media. Like there's a real person in front of you. There is a real conversation to be had. There are real people, in your circle on a daily basis. Like, please, interact with each other, create community, get advice from someone you know. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but 50% of Gen Z is going to social media. And I know that we are as millennials as well. And I've actually seen, some of the Gen Xers, they're trying to figure out my mom is actually a baby boomer and she's on social media and she comes to me with social media things. So while the numbers might be a lot smaller, Gen Z is not the only ones that are going to social media for financial advice. And it's just so dangerous because some people are giving advice just to get views, not necessarily to be right or to actually help people. And that is the thing we got to worry about.
yeah, for sure. And so we'll quickly talk about a couple of things to, avoid being influenced by social media. The first is, limit your screen time. So, if you find yourself, I know we get those annoying notifications from Apple that tell us how many hours we spent on our phones. But if that number is bothering you, limit your screen time, unfollow, unsubscribe people, or things that tempt you to spend money. You can screen your influencers. If there's people out there that you're getting advice from, check their credentials, see if they are actually licensed financial planners,
Ooh, that is a
certified financial
good one.
planners.
Where did you
Yeah.
learn all this information that you're sharing with me on the regular on social media? Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of times I've found, especially like during COVID, I think a lot of people, they just kind of had some personal success with no track record. And so they were all of a sudden becoming an expert in teaching everybody else what to do. Um, and so,
And
yeah,
for
just make sure
$5.99, they too can teach you times 1,000 people, and they continue to
exactly,
get paid.
exactly. But yeah, see how they're getting paid too. If they're promoting products, yeah, if they're doing these courses. Are they making more money selling the courses than they are actually doing what they're teaching you how to do? We talked about that before. And then, talk to a qualified professional, someone like Lauryn or me, and just kind of run that advice by us and see, is this legitimate?
Okay, you better be careful, Chloe. Your DMs are going to blow up because the people listening to this episode have been getting their information from TikTok. But you just said, talk to a professional, Lauryn and Chloe. Oh, I was listening to a podcast. Let me slide in their DMs in and ask them. No, we are absolutely willing and able to help should you need it. But this episode today is really all about what kind of financial professional you need to be thinking about working with, and whether or not you're actually ready to work with a financial professional, because that's a piece of the puzzle as well. So let's dive into the topic because we want to put some of these myths to bed. We want to help you understand what a financial planner is, what a financial planner does, and whether or not you need to jump in that boat, or should you continue surfing TikTok and getting all your financial advice from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to start with just what do financial planners do? Because if you're thinking about are you ready to work with someone, you really want to understand, what kind of services they can provide, how can they help you? And so, a lot of times people don't really know what a financial planner does. And we blame it on the industry. I mean, it's kind of, vague as far as, financial planner, financial advisor, you have wealth managers, all these terms that mean nothing.
All these commercials talking about how, we helped you build wealth. Some called blah 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 company. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, it's really hard, just for the average consumer to know, what a financial planner is or what they do. And a lot of times, we work with people who grew up in families that didn't have a financial planner, so their idea might be shaped by what they see, or and they could be in positions where they meet the wrong type of financial planner.
well, that's definitely my situation. No one in my family had a financial planner. We didn't feel like we had enough money to have a financial planner. And now that I am in this world, I realize that from an earnings perspective, we might have not needed a long-term situation with financial planner, but we could have greatly benefited from a professional helping provide just some expertise and point us in the right directions with the spending and the saving habits of our family and our household. So definitely, just because you've never seen one doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity for you to work with one or to learn what a financial planner does and how it can help you create, this buzzword nowadays is generational wealth, which I think we're going to do probably a whole episode on that as well soon. But just because you didn't grow up with one doesn't mean that you don't need a financial planner. So we're going to dive into that. But like I said, first thing, like what does a financial planner do, Chloe?
Yeah, so really in a nutshell, what a financial planner does is help you, kind of understand, what are your goals, and what do you want to achieve with your life, and how can you use money as a tool to make that happen. And so we really serve as a guide to just help you make better financial decisions, help you, take the actionable steps that you need to take to reach your long-term goals. And so, Lauren and I are both certified financial planners. So basically what that means is that we're trained to give clients advice on all different aspects and areas of their money. That could be, your savings, your investments, estate planning, tax planning, insurance, just to name a few. But we really kind of help with every aspect of your financial world.
Yes, and I think that is the biggest misconception of all, is that people think that I don't have money to invest. I hear this all the time. So I don't need a financial planner. Let me get myself organized and then I'm going to be ready to invest. So then I'm going to need a financial planner. Financial planners do more than just investing. And like you said, to that point, our industry has done us a great disservice in creating kind of that narrative. A lot of what you'll see on television is very investment focused. Investing is a piece of your financial planning puzzle, but it is not your full puzzle. Chloe just mentioned a whole bunch of other things, but you may be getting ready to get married and trying to figure out how to merge your finances. You may have a boatload of student loan debt and you don't know what plan is appropriate for you. You may have never made a budget before. You don't understand how your 401k works. These are all pieces of the puzzle that are not related to just getting investment advice. You want to pay for your kids' college. You know, what do I do? What is a 529 plan? How much do I put into it? All those kinds of questions are your full financial picture. And I'm sure you have a plethora of things you're thinking about yourself. You're like, gosh, I wish I knew this. Like, I wish I had someone to ask, which is why you're going to social media. But that's actually what a financial planner is supposed to help you with, is helping you get answers to the questions, whatever they are, that matter to you the most as it relates to your finances. And even if they don't know the answer, working through that with you. So it's a team effort. It's not just investing.
Absolutely. And we also, I think another value add is that we, can work with other advisors. And so we can bring other people into the picture, whether you need an attorney, if you need an insurance agent, a tax preparer. So we can help introduce those people to you. We can work as a team on your behalf. And so everybody's not just, kind of working alone and not really understanding how the whole picture works together.
Yeah, I like to think of the financial planner as kind of like what we call the general practitioner in the medical world. So you go see your general practitioner when you feel ill, and they're like, ooh, like this is the situation here. Your blood pressure is a little high, your nose is a little snotty. This is so. Let me refer you to a specialist because these three things usually equal XYZ. And then you go see the ENT. We're gonna say we're not gonna call out any of the really scary doctors. With the financial planner, it's like, okay, we've helped you with this. Here's some things that we've pointed out because we understand your full financial picture. And, we've been working with you for a while, as does your doctor, right? Now let me refer you out to the accountant. Let me refer you out to the estate planner. Let me refer you out to the proper insurance person because we know exactly how much you need. You don't need to, end up in the hands of the sales guy who's trying to sell you something that only is going to benefit them and they're not really looking at your full financial picture. I can say like, hey, insurance is an important piece of the puzzle. You do need it, but you need it because of this, and this is how much you need, and this is the type you need. Here's Joe Blow that I know, and let me let you know, let me let them work with you to get what you need. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And same thing on the tax side. If there's, we might know, okay, what your situation is going to look like next year or the year after that, because you have certain income coming in, or for my clients, if they have, equity and stock options or RSUs that are coming. So, I can help kind of think a couple of years ahead versus your tax preparer that's only thinking about what happened last year.
Amen. Hallelujah. All right. So let's talk about when you need a financial planner. Now you know what a financial planner does. You're like, ooh, I need one of those. Get me a financial planner, a certified financial planner. So actually, before we transition to do you need a financial planner, Chloe mentioned that she and I are both certified financial planners. This is an area where you should do your homework because there's a lot of terms out there. So CFP is one, certified financial planner. Then there's also fee only. I recommend you go and look up that term. And then there is fiduciary, which is definitely being muddled and thrown around and misused quite a bit. And so more and more, I'm getting people coming to me and asking if I'm a fiduciary because they found that somewhere in some blog online, but they don't really know the other aspects of the pieces of the puzzle. So we're not going to deep dive into those aspects today, but I absolutely recommend look up the word certified financial planner, learn more about that, learn more about the term fee only. Alternatives to that are fee-based and commission, which most of the industry is made up of people who earn a commission, and then also fiduciary. So that's your homework item. All right, Chloe, when do you need a financial planner?
Yeah, so I think we're biased in saying that, just about everybody can benefit from financial advice. And it's one of those things that, we feel like everyone could, it could really help everyone. But just thinking about some questions that you can ask yourself, if you feel like, maybe you're ready for a financial planner, but you're not sure. The first one is, are you comfortable with making decisions on your own and financial decisions? Is that something that you feel confident about? When it comes to money, can you talk confidently about money, and do you feel good about the decisions that you're making? So if not, then maybe, that is something that you need to get help with.
Amen. Hallelujah to being able to describe what your plan is to your friends without telling all your business. That's how I tell my clients I want them to be. I'm like, you come to me, my job is to teach you things. I give you recommendations. I help you create a plan, but I want you to be at brunch with your girlfriends or brunch with your friends, period, beer with your buddies, whatever the case may be, and be able to say, yes, I'm ready to retire by age 55 and I'm putting my money into a 401k and I know that we're doing, ETFs only. Like you should be able to say the basics of your financial plan with confidence. Otherwise, like it's like I don't really know what I'm doing out here. I'm just put some money away in my savings account, and somebody told me I was supposed to say like if you don't feel really confident in your plan, and the decisions that you've made, and you can't explain them to someone else like why you've made those decisions, then you might need a financial planner.
Yeah. Another thing is just thinking about how complex your financial situation is. Are you a business owner? Are you like a lot of my clients that have some form of equity compensation, that has, decisions that you have to make and tax consequences? Are there other things that are complicated? Do you have a big family? Do you have a lot of children? Do you have a blended family? Where you might need some estate planning, that's a little bit different than the norm. But just anything that makes your life a little bit more complicated or a little bit, more complex financially, that's a good sign that you probably need to get some help.
Yeah, I'll also say too, if you have unstable income. So a lot of my clients are people who earn pretty low salaries but have pretty high commissions. So they can earn easily two, $300,000 a year, but they, have a base salary of 60 or 70K. Well, it's hard to make a budget based on 70K when you pretty regularly earn upwards of 200K. But you have to figure out a way to be able to stabilize your income. And that is the thing that's really frustrating for people because that other money is not guaranteed. So that may be one thing that might prompt you to reach out to a financial planner. And also if you're an entrepreneur. So, we are definitely known for having fluctuating income. And then in addition to that, having business expenses, et cetera. So those are some things to consider.
Yeah, and another one is just, are you going through a major life change? Lauryn and I both work with young professionals, and it feels like they're making major life changes every other year, or multiple times a year.
Girl, every other week.
I know. But yeah, I mean, just think about some of the major changes. Are you getting married? Are you getting divorced? Are you having a child? Are you buying your first home? Did someone pass away? Just there could be all types of things. Are you changing jobs? If you're going through those major life changes, those are typically the times where you can make some major mistakes that could set you back financially for years. And so just having someone to help, guide you through making the decisions that you need to make during that life change can really help you avoid a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's an important piece of the puzzle. Another thing I would say too is like, how valuable is your time? So there are things that you don't want to do, like your own hair. Um, I can't do my own hair. I need to go get like certified to be able to do it. And then I need to actually spend the time. It takes about an hour and a half for the young lady who does my hair to get it done. So do I want to dedicate the time to become an expert so that I don't have to pay somebody else to do this thing? Um, or like for you, do you want to dedicate the time to managing your own finances? What does that look like for you? Definitely, it's important to have some education around your finances. So you do not want to just pay somebody, be enabled, and not be any the wiser about what's going on in your financial life. But do you honestly want to take the time to, like I said, I took spent years learning about student loans before actually even a certification existed, and then went and got the certification, and I'm doing student loans on a regular basis. I see, roughly somewhere between like 5 and 15 people a week, and go through different student loan scenarios. Do you want to read 5 blogs and try to put your own student loan plan together and possibly get it right or possibly miss something because this is not something you deal with on a regular basis? I think it's very important. And one of the things that's most commonly overlooked is like, oh, everybody has to deal with money. I don't want to pay somebody to deal with my money. I'm going to figure this out myself. And you're not realizing how much it may be costing you to not invest the time, invest the dollars so that you don't have to invest the time to manage your own finances.
Yeah, and the greatest example I can think of is just, clients come to me all the time with questions, and I can answer those questions off the top of my head. And it would take them hours to research and find the answers to those questions. And sometimes when they do the research, they still don't have the right answer. So, just saving time is really important.
Absolutely. Also, can you afford the fee? So, to get to the point, financial planners are not free 99. We need to make a living just like everyone else. So, Chloe, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things to consider as it relates to financial planning fees?
Yeah, like you were saying, Lauren, it's not free, and it can be a little pricey depending on who you work with or how the financial planner charges. But it's really something that I consider an investment more so than an expense. So there's definitely different benefits to working with a financial planner and different levels of value that you can receive. Some are financial and some are non-financial. So on the financial side, you think if you're working with someone and they're able to help you maybe lower your tax bill, by doing some tax planning and working with your tax preparer. If they're able to help you, save more money and invest more, or maybe get your portfolio to the point where you can, you're investing. I'm sorry. But are they able to help you, invest more and save more so that you can reach your goals a little bit faster? So all of those things are just important and really help you, financially. On a non-financial level, just having someone, there to serve as a guide and answer your questions and kind of help you through all of these life changes, all of these decisions that you have to make, that could, create more peace. It could help you sleep better at night, and help you know that your family's taken care of if something, happens to you. If your financial advisor is able to help you get an estate plan together and get your insurance, and set up a plan for your family. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to help provide value.
Amen. Hallelujah to that. And peace of mind is worth paying for. I absolutely think, there's many instances in my life where I'm like, "Ooh, I am so glad that I did that. I'm so glad that I learned the information." Sometimes you're on the right track. You just want to kind of get your temperature checked, and you may have a relatively simple situation. That's where you might want to work with someone on a project basis. So, to that point, can you afford the fee? It might be a one-time fee, one-off situation. Not very many planners do that anymore, especially certified financial planners. You end up sometimes in the hands of a financial coach. Worth Winning is one of the places where we'll still do a 90-minute meeting with you kind of off the cuff. Then there's project-based planning where you can actually have something where you're working together on a medium-term basis. So it might take a month or two, might take a meeting or two, might take 3 or 4 meetings, but it's not meant to be a long-term engagement. It's meant to provide enough detail to give you the information you need to kind of continue to move forward. And then there's working with the financial planner on an ongoing basis. So Chloe and I both have clients where we know their cat's name, their kid's name. We know, they got divorced to this person and married to this person again and XYZ, whatever. We know the ins and outs of their finances. And like right now, it's March. We're almost to the end of tax season. We hit up their accountants at the beginning of the year and said, "Hey, here's the information you need to know. Here's the relevant things that happened in this person's life last year. Here's what you need to be on the lookout for beyond the paperwork that they're going to provide to you." So it just depends on where you're at in life, and also, like you said, affordability. Sometimes you can't afford the ongoing person even though you want it, but that's goals. Like, okay, I'm gonna go get this one-time situation. I'm gonna follow these, the recommendations, and at some point I'm gonna be able to circle back to this person. And I'm gonna need ongoing planning because big money, big problems. They would say more money, more problems. So definitely be thinking about that. There's different ways to work with a financial planner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to talk about we call them client red flags, but just there might be some signs that you're not necessarily ready to work with a financial planner, or, there might be things that we see with people who come to us and, their behavior is not the greatest when it comes to having a good financial planner client relationship. So the first one is, we kind of alluded to this in the trends, taxes, and tea, but just coming to us with many ideas from social media and the internet, and believing that that the advice that you hear on social media is better than the advice that we're giving you.
Selling puppies, um, selling, buying luxury cars and renting them. What are some of the things you've heard about, Chloe, that came from social media?
Vending machines.
Oh yeah, that's a popular one. The vending machines is a thing right now. Like
Yeah.
all kinds of different things. So, if you're looking for get rich quick schemes, it's usually a sign that you're not like overall financially stable. You're like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? Is like I'm trying to figure out how to do these things because I actually don't want to put more money in my bank account on a monthly basis, which is a really basic thing your financial planner is going to tell you to do. We don't have magic wands to make you filthy rich overnight. So if you're expecting that of your financial planner, that's kind of also one of the things that you might want to realign and rethink about.
Yeah. And another one, I see this sometimes too, is, just expecting your financial planner to beat the market or chase performance. I think a lot of people come to us and they think, like you said earlier, Lauryn, like that, all we do is investments. And so the biggest value that we can bring them is growing their money as fast as possible. So, in a lot of cases, you really want to, first of all, consider how much you have to invest and how much you're able to save on a regular basis. Because if you're starting with just a small amount of money and you want us to double and triple and quadruple it, and you're not adding to it, you're not, consistently saving and investing yourself. We, like she said, we can't wave a magic wand and make you rich overnight.
This is one of the most frustrating things for me. Kind of like strikes a nerve. You mentioned earlier, like, sometimes you just don't know what a financial planner is. But so often people in Black and brown communities come and, like you said, because they haven't interacted with someone, that's what they think it is. And for me, it's been as a professional athlete, the parents of professional athletes. So someone is getting ready to go pro, and there's a parent doing the interviews on their behalf, but they've never worked with a financial planner. And so I get this question all the time about like market performance or how you going, make my baby's money double, and we should never have to worry about anything again. And it's already the wrong line of questioning. And it's like I can tell right out of the gate that I'm not going to close that client, but I'm also very concerned for them by the time I hang up the phone, because the person who, definitely just trying to have their child's best interest at heart doesn't even know what the right question is to ask, doesn't know that this is not the information that you need, and this is not the way that you should be looking for a financial planner. And anyone who's going to sell you those dreams is probably a person that is pretty sketchy and doesn't have your best interest at heart. So it's incredibly important to get rid of the mindset of we're just going to get rich quick overnight, and we're going to continue to like just make our money make money, or make our money work for us in a way that is just going to provide you this gargantuan return in a very short time frame. That's just not how the market works.
Yeah. And especially, like I said before, if you're starting with a very small amount of money and you're not consistently contributing to it, when you're a young professional, the contributions that you make to your investment portfolio over time, that has a greater impact than the returns themselves. So another one is making big financial decisions, and then telling your financial planner after the fact.
Lord, Lord, Lord. How many times has this happened to you, Chloe?
Oh, plenty.
I'd say like 70% of the time. Where it's like, oh, and also we put an offer on the house. Like, and I'm like, but wait, that was never in our budget, or we weren't even saving for a down payment. Like, what do you mean? What money did you use to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Why is that a red flag?
Oh yeah, it can definitely screw up the financial plan. I've even had clients say, "Oh, I quit my job," and telling me after the fact. And if you're doing that around the time, like let's say you did it in 2020, at the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022, you might still be looking for a job, like, or you might have found a job
real quick in those streets, right?
Yeah, or you might be in a position where you're making a lot less. But yeah, just thinking about, just any time that you're working with a financial planner, our job is to help serve as a guide and really help you make better financial decisions. So, it's always better for us to kind of talk you through, the pros and cons of certain decisions. If we have some insight as to how, the best way to go about certain things, that can really just help avoid mistakes. When you make decisions and tell us after the fact, that essentially puts us in a position where we're having to kind of backtrack or, or correct mistakes or change up the plan. And maybe it'll take you a little bit longer to reach your goals.
Yeah, and to that point, you should not be afraid to talk to your financial planner. You hired a financial professional, they work for you. You shouldn't be afraid to reach out and say, "Hey, I have a question," even if it's not in the normal time frame of which you said you were going to meet. You should absolutely not be afraid to ask for advice from the person you've hired to give you advice. And so, two things, kind of set me off there are either you don't feel good about the person you're working with, and that's one reason you're afraid to ask the question, or you're afraid to ask the question because you kind of intuitively know you're making a bad financial decision, which is why you're like, this is my money. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And then I'm like, hey, Chloe, guess what I did, girl? Like, help me fix my problem because you can tell I got a problem. Like, um, so yeah, so you definitely either you want to address why you're not comfortable telling your financial advisor or talking to your financial professional before you make any big financial decision.
Absolutely. Another thing that we see is, just not following through on the advice that we give you. We work really hard to try to, customize like our advice to each client, based on their situation, what they want to accomplish. And then the experience that we have, we've been working as financial planners for a long time. We have a lot of clients who've been in similar situations, and we really have valuable insight that we can provide. And so when you don't follow through, or you don't take our advice, sometimes that puts you in a bad situation. You end up making those decisions that, we have to go back and kind of course correct.
Yeah, and we call this the Know Better, Do Better series, but we also know that it's not super duper easy for everyone to know better and then actually take the action that is necessary to do better. The area I see this the most often in is the insurance area. Hey, you need $2 million of insurance, client. Here's where you need to go, 30-year term. Here's what you need to do. And yeah, I see I'm CC'd on the emails like, hey, we followed up 3 times and haven't heard from you. This will be the last time you hear from us. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, please, like, if you kick the bucket, you are vulnerable. Like, we needed this insurance for a reason. So you absolutely want to follow through on the advice that you're given because the catastrophes are the areas where, like you said, as a planner, we're seeing those things. We see them on a regular basis. I had a friend whose house burned down. I had a friend whose house flooded this year and got displaced. So these are real things where, you should have taken a video of your home so that you could see what your home looked like in normal condition because they're absolutely going to ask for what it looked like in a bad condition. So it's definitely important to do the things that your financial planner is requesting of you, follow those recommendations so that you're not in a bad situation if something pops up.
Yeah. And then the other thing is just, not dedicating the time to actually do the work that you need to do. And so, sometimes we have a lot of clients who, maybe we're trying as much as we can to help them, but they're not really helping themselves. And so, they're not taking the time to work on, if we give them things to work on between meetings or action items, like they're just not taking the time to do it. And so I find a lot of times with people who don't follow through with advice or people who don't dedicate the time that's needed, they might come to us a year or two into their relationship saying, I'm not making any progress, and they're getting mad. And it's just, we're doing as much as we can to help you, but if you're not helping yourself, then there's not too much more that we can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have clients that never looked at their Trello board ever. So Trello is a task management tool that I use with my clients. And it just kind of continued to pile up. They would send an email. I would send an email and say, hey, I've outlined these 10 things. Here's the link to your Trello board yet again. And like you said, the board just got piled and piled and piled to the point where they were just like, I don't think that I'm getting the value out of this. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, here's 27 things that I asked you to do. Like, I guess that's a key piece of the puzzle too, is like, what does a financial planner do? We cannot do everything for you. We cannot physically pay your bills. We cannot, walk down the street and take you to the doctor so that you can get the physical, so that you can get the life insurance. There are some pieces of the puzzle that you're going to have to execute on your own. we physically cannot do them as your financial planner. We transfer money from your investment account to your bank account. Like we can't transfer it to every, like you said, to the light bill, to the mortgage, to the so on and so forth. You have to take some responsibility for implementing the recommendations. And yes, they take time. We know that it's not fun to sit on the phone and wait on hold, or to schedule yet another meeting on a work day to go get a, insurance physical or whatever the case may be. But you absolutely are going to have to take some responsibility over your finances, even while working with a financial planner.
Yes. So to wrap up, let's talk about some just general tips. The first one is, how to find a financial planner. So there's a lot of great resources and networks out there. Lauryn and I, we both are part of the XY Planning Network. So you can go to their website. They have a directory of advisors, the fee-only advisors that serve Gen X and Gen Y clients. There's also a website called feeonlynetwork.com. And so you can find fee-only financial advisors all across the country and search by your location or different specialties. And then NAPFA, NAPFA, that's an association for personal financial advisors. And so that's also another fee-only network that you can look at financial advisors.
And to the point that I just made, we've given you a lot of information. We didn't deep dive into what a certified financial planner is, what fee only means, what fiduciary is. But all three of these websites are going to require everybody to meet those requirements. And so you absolutely want to consider that. And you absolutely want to learn what those terms mean before you go off onto some other website and find somebody that looks really cool, has a great, layout of their page, but also like maybe no licenses whatsoever. So please learn those terms. Please take a moment, take that responsibility on to go and deep dive into that. And it's pretty front and center on all three of those websites as well to teach you the basics.
Yeah. And then we'll put some resources too in the show notes. There's different questions that you can ask a financial planner when you're interviewing different people, just to kind of figure out like who's the best fit for you. And like Lauryn mentioned before, some people just don't know the right questions to ask, and they end up asking the wrong questions, and that can put them in the wrong hands. So we'll talk about just some questions to ask a financial planner and put a resource there. And then also, there are financial planner red flags. Just people, when you're talking to a financial planner or interviewing people, there's things that someone could say to you, like, maybe guaranteeing performance. That's illegal. So if someone says they can get you, X% every year, or they have these, grand promises, then that's probably a red flag. Or if, they're promising you that this product is going to solve all your problems, that's probably a red flag. So we'll put some articles and resources that kind of explain some of those red flags as well.
Yeah, when they talk more than they listen, and they're trying to, force something on you, like, oh yeah, you are the client for me. Honestly, if you're a good financial planner, you want what is best for the client. That's the term fiduciary that we keep talking about. And it may be like, hey, here's what I offer. Here's how it works. Here's why I think it will be good for you. And then it's up to you to decide if this is good. And please let me know if you have any questions. But if I'm constantly like trying to convince you to be a client, like I'm selling hard, like to me, that is a big red flag. Like, why do you need me so much specifically? I just met you. Like, so yeah, that we can do a whole nother episode on the financial planner red flags, but I'll leave it at that for now. Let's transition to the money quote for today. The money quotes are so good. So let me just tell you all that Chloe is in charge of the money quotes. And I'm always like, oh, Chloe, where did you find this quote? She did so good today that there are two. So Chloe, lay the first one on us.
All right. So the first one is, to profit from good advice requires more wisdom than to give it.
That is a word. To profit from good advice requires more wisdom than to give it. I mean, that means you need to take the good advice. Like, you need to do something with the good advice. Like, you need to be smart enough to say, hey, this is good advice and I should execute, just in case you need me to break the quote down. And actually just get the quote. I mean, it's actually just giving the advice. All right. What is the second one?
Yeah, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong.
We are in March, and what I've been doing a much better job of this year is reminding you all, you set goals in January. So I don't want to wait until October and be like, hey, how are you? Hurry up. We're in the fourth quarter. It every day that you wake up, every minute that you have an opportunity to inspire yourself, every is another minute that you have to change your life. So you've been stuck somewhere, unstick yourself. If you feel like you have not made any progress towards your goals up to this point this year, it is not too late. Who cares that it's March? We've got April, we've got May, we've got June. Like, you've got tomorrow morning. You got as soon as you hang up this podcast. Like, I give you permission to click off right now if you're feeling really inspired to go do something about what is happening in your financial life or in your life in general. Because staying stuck is not taking you anywhere. Like, we're just sitting here in one place doing the same old, same old. You can't expect different results by doing the exact same thing. And yes, change is painful. Like, writing that check to the financial planner, setting up those reoccurring fees, painful. Yes, implementing the thing, sometimes painful, but it is not as painful as kicking the bucket, not having that life insurance because you didn't execute. It is not as bad as never getting a budget and getting to retirement and not having a dollar and or having to depend on your children to take care of you. And I could go on and on and on with the financial things that you could choose not to do. Stay where you are, and then way down the road, you are hurting. So come on, don't be afraid to make that change. Chloe.
Absolutely. And we talked about, just the value of having a financial planner. We are there to help you make those changes and make sure that you get out of being stuck. So that's one of the major values that we can provide.
Amen. Hallelujah. So we hope we've inspired you. We hope we helped you better understand whether or not a financial planner may be right for you. We've given you some resources. Like I said, they're right down in the show notes, all the places to click. Tell a friend if you already have a financial planner to listen to this episode so they can go get a financial planner, because sharing is caring. And you absolutely want the people in your life that you care about to be financially well as well. So that will do it for now. We will see you all next week.
Bye.